Hi everyone, hope you are doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, yesterday, Kenyans were waiting to see on how Senator Wetangula is going to make the ruling in the National Assembly to know where is the majority and the minority in that house. Because it was clear from the word go that Azimio la Umoja managed to gain more numbers in the National Assembly compared to what Kenya Kwanza got. But again, in the Senate, we knew that Kenya Kwanza had more numbers compared to Azimio la Umoja. So for that reason, already Azimio was not putting their hope in the Senate or having an arrangement to have any leadership as far as the majority side is concerned. But Azimio had prepared itself to take over the majority leadership in the National Assembly. So Senator Wetangula, as we know, not Senator actually, I still call him Senator because he has served 2 terms. Anyway, the Speaker, Wetangula, needed some wisdom in the National Assembly because this one is an independent branch of the government. It is independent from the executive. The same way judiciary should be independent from executive. So National Assembly needs to be independent, and that means Wetangula needs to make an independent decision following the law and the Constitution of Kenya. But seemingly, that ruling has left many people wondering that how comes you rule in favor of a coalition that came in with less numbers to make it majority, since you have the powers to just make that decision in that way. And therefore, as we are speaking now, Kenya Kwanza has been declared as the majority coalition in the National Assembly, and Azimio have been forced to take the minority side. That is the situation in the country, and we want to look into the reasons why Senator Wetangula had to make such controversial ruling. But before we go deep into that, just a quick request. You might be watching this channel, but you have not yet subscribed. So my humble request, please consider subscribing so that another time, once we release a video like this one, you will always get notified. Again, to all our channel subscribers and anyone who drop comment, I must say thank you so much for your unconditional support. Again, I'm requesting you to give our video a thumbs up so that YouTube can recommend our videos to more viewers. Again, you can also check on Kenya News K. Thank you. Back to our discussion. Now, for those who remember, Senator Wetangula had worked with Railaodinga during the court time, that was 2013. That time, Mudavadi was on ballot as a presidential candidate on UDF ticket. But Wetangula was against that decision to work with Mudavadi. So they delivered, and of course, CORD finally decided to reward Wetangula with the position of minority in the Senate. He served 5 years, 1 term. After that, Mudavadi came on board and they changed from CORD to NASA. After that election, the problem came in. Because now, the ODM party was arguing that they have more numbers compared to any other political party within as NASA by that time. And because of that, they needed to take over the leadership in the Senate and again in the National Assembly. Though the other people were feeling that, okay, let us give leadership to, in the National Assembly, we give the front positions to ODM, then Senate, this other side. So at the end of the day, ODM managed to kick Wetangula from the position of minority leader, and they replaced Wetangula with the current governor of Siaya, James Agri Orengo. From that time, Wetangula became bitter with the ODM party leader. He became bitter with the ODM members of leadership, entire leadership, even in the Senate and the National Assembly. And in his speech, Wetangula said this, that he was not invited in a NASA or to politics. And he's not going to relax. He's going to fight to the end. And he promised that there is going to be messy, it is going to be noisy, and we're going to have casualties. So we can say that yesterday, finally Wetangula was vindicated. It was noisy, it was messy, and yes, Azimio is a casualty.
And Mr. Speaker, I represent people. Nobody can belittle me in this house. Nobody. And nobody has a right, Mr. Speaker, to play games behind my back. Nobody. Let them be frontal and we will fight mundu kumundu.
Order, Senator.
It's as simple as that, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Senator. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I take great exception to the conduct of my deputy and whoever chaired this meeting. Because, Mr. Speaker, I've been receiving phone calls, SMSs, threats, and so on and so forth. Mr. Speaker, I delivered a resounding vote to the leader of ODM. And this cannot be wished away. These games, Mr. Speaker, are totally unhelpful, and I want to repeat as I end. If anybody wants a divorce, it will be noisy, it will be messy, it will be unhelpful, and it will have casualties, Mr. Speaker.
Now, that was number one. Number two, going by the kind of ruling Wetangula made, someone can easily conclude and say that Wetangula was simply following the directive of President William Samoei Ruto. Because all of us are well aware that Ruto was at the National Assembly having a meal with the members of parliament, mingling with them, and of course, he had a meeting with Wetangula in his office, the office of the Speaker of the National Assembly. What were they discussing? That's the question. Because after that meeting, we are seeing this kind of ruling. It means Ruto gave him a directive on how he wanted him to make that ruling. Ruto, actually from the word go, he was still insisting that we don't know why NASA, Azimio are fighting for majority and we know they don't have numbers. That's what Ruto said. That we all know that we have numbers. What are they fighting for? But seemingly we were aware that the numbers he was talking about was the number that he had poached from Azimio. There are people who just even join us Kenya Kwanza after election. And remember, for you to move from one coalition to another, according to the law as of now, you need to give a notice of 3 months. I don't know when they gave that notice. At least for Alfred Mutua, he gave a notice earlier. But again, even 3 months have not yet been finished. But at least he gave a long time ago, before election. But just look on these people who just made the latest move. I'm talking about UDM party. Yule jamaa mwingine anatoka huko Nyanza. Nani huyu? Someone there with his party. People who just moved in after election. So he's poaching. After poaching, then you say you have the numbers. So this is a directive Ruto gave to Wetangula. Rule in favor of our coalition. And if Wetangula has followed what Ruto has told them, then it means Wetangula is confirming to us that he don't have powers as the Speaker of the National Assembly. It means most of the things he will be doing, it will not be by his own decision, but being directed by someone somewhere. Okay? Because that's then what he's just confirming to us. And then number 3, we can conclude and say that since Wetangula is in Kenya Kwanza, and those are most of the people who voted for him as the Speaker, though people thought that maybe Wetangula will need to have to borrow some leave from Kenneth Marende, who was very Solomonic in most of his rulings, but he did not. So because he came from Kenya Kwanza, seemingly he has decided to play in the interest of Kenya Kwanza, as politics may go, and serve the decision of Kenya Kwanza, the people who voted him in, so that now, serving the interest of Kenya Kwanza, they want to take over the leadership of those committees. And remember, vetting is coming in now, soon. And there is a number of people who Azimio is not agreeing to clear them for the CS positions. Someone like Kithure Kindiki, everyone will accept this man is clean. He can do the job. I don't see anyone having problem in clearing Mudavadi. He will be cleared. There is no problem with that. I don't see someone having problem with the people like Ababu Namwamba. He has been working. But then when you talk about names like Aisha Jumwa, someone will have a question to ask. Is Aisha Jumwa a clean person? And it's not only Aisha Jumwa. There are other many people in that cabinet whom Azimio is not comfortable with because of their character, their behavior, and how they have been carrying themselves. So because of that, they know they will have problem when it will come to vetting, because Azimio would want to stamp the authority, and that will not go well with the Kenya Kwanza. And if these things have happened this way, then we can read impunity, and we can conclude and say that then William Ruto, as the president, has shown that he is ready to break the law. A man who swore to protect the law is now here, already breaking the law from the word go. Because this is just the beginning of the business. Because for him to form his government, it will start with the National Assembly, vetting, and then have his cabinet ready, and then from there, he will form his government. So from the word go, already we are seeing someone breaking the law by forcing things to happen in his side. Again, we have seen Wetangula breaking the law just to play in the interest of Kenya Kwanza politics. Because there are times when it reaches to such matters, you have to make a decision which is actually in line with the law and the constitution of Kenya. I know someone will talk about the constitution giving issues like right for association. You have a right to associate, but then we also have a law to respect. It is the same members of parliament who amended this law. So let them respect it. I don't know what to think about this, but this is my view. But many people anticipated that Wetangula is going to rule in this manner, because Wetangula had not forgiven ODM or railaodinga. He had not. Alikuwa bado angali na yale machungu yote, because Wetangula was looking into this issue in this way that I had delivered Bungoma and Trans Nzoia. You know, when you talk to Wetangula and you want to go into a coalition with him, the truth of the matter is that Wetangula is always looking on the constituency that is bringing to you. And Wetangula's constituency is the Bukusu constituency, Bungoma and part of Trans Nzoia. And once you have him, count that you have more than 200,000 votes on your side.